If anyone, whoa, if anyone has parked in the 7-Eleven parking lot, someone is saying that they are towing. So that was not a parking, that's a business's parking lot that's open 24/7. If you made the mistake of parking there, you may be having a problem. So if you want to go and see if you're having a problem, that would be great. Thanks. All right, everyone. I don't get to do this very often with, 400, 500 people, whatever we're going to have here tonight. So as we get ready, we still got a few minutes yet, and we're still getting people seated. But what I want us to do is sing. This is one of these things that I have kind of as, like, we've got to do it, is it's really important for us all to know, all to know music right now that you don't need words or accompaniment for. So if we're protesting, if we're doing something, if we're just somewhere, or as I tell my congregation, if you're in Hannaford while you're shopping, just start singing. So the one we're going to start with tonight, we'll see how many we got time for, but let's do This Little Light of Mine, okay? And the verses are going to be, this little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine, this little light of mine, all that. And then, don't let hatred blow it out. okay? And then the last one is, everywhere we go, we're going to let it shine, okay? I'll holler them out, too, because I got a mic, right? All right. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. Don't let hatred blow it out. Don't let hatred blow it out. Everywhere we go. Just remember that at 11 a.m. on Saturdays, when you're at Monument Square, you can all sing This Little Light of Mine, all right? Welcome to First Parish Church. This is a congregation that creates space of inclusivity and justice. And you are helping us do that tonight. Thank you so much. I am Christine Dyke. I'm the lead minister here, and I do a few things, but that's one of the big thing I do here. So I'm going to give us some ground rules tonight, okay? And when I say ground rules, that means that we're agreeing upon the things that we're grounded in. And it's not somebody telling us to do. We're all saying, I say as we do our centering prayer, and ground yourself with your feet in whatever ground you're on, and with your seat in your seat. So we are grounded, I'm hoping, in these rules together, these agreements together. So the first one is, we've all come to listen. First and foremost, we have all come to listen. Secondly, some of us have come to speak. And for those who have come to speak, it's even more important that those who speak listen also. So remember that as you go to speak. We ask that you be respectful in this place and to each other. So no booing to people. We may boo an idea every once in a while, but not to people. If someone is inappropriate, their mic will be cut off, okay? And we will ask you to leave. Now, the people organizing this will ask you to leave. We want no one else to say anything else, okay? If we end up with a bigger problem, guess what we're going to do? Yes, we're going to sing This Little Line of Mine all over again, okay? Yep. Okay? So just so you know, we've got people to take care of that, but our job, if we're not the person disrupting, is to just let it happen, and then we'll sing if there's a problem. If you've got a question, okay, please state your name and your town so we know who you are, and it must be short, it must be specific, and it must be a question. Okay? Some people have been asked to come and relay experiences that they've had, and those people are here, but we really want to focus on questions during the question answer part. The other point is, now that we're in March Madness, we're at one and done. So if you get one question, that's all you get, okay? And finally, I want to go back to number one again. We are here to... Thank you, thank you. So a couple things, silence your phones, which I haven't yet. Oh, I knew it. So, okay. If you want to speak, we're going to have two mics up here. I'll reposition this one in a minute. We'll get the positions right. We ask that we only have about 4 or 5 people lined up at a time, just kind of as one goes and another one can come. Don't pull that one too hard. Yeah. And please line up this way so we don't block an aisle. Okay, this way or... Oh, yeah, we can bring that one up even further here. And then line up this way on this side of the aisle, okay? That'll keep things reasonably decent. Get close to the mic. I gotta put this one down. Get close to here. Okay. Yeah? No, I know, I have it muted. Really? Are you kidding? Like, people were gonna walk by and cuss in that thing if I left it open, you know? Okay? And yeah, 4 in line. Okay. And before I introduce Tom Allen to do this, they asked me to also say something. We're not only a congregation that was willing to host this, we are a congregation affected by the policies of the current administration. We are currently out about $100,000. So we got a FEMA grant, and we have done the work, and it's a reimbursement grant, and we were notified, it came from federal FEMA to state FEMA, MEMA, you know, that the federal funding was frozen. So we're sitting on an $80,000 debt, which we really can't afford, just to let you know. That's a little rough. We are also out another $23,000 because, I don't know if you noticed, but we put solar panels on the top of the other building over there, right. And we used the rebate that was available to us to do that. Unfortunately, guess where our rebate is sitting right now? 3 little letters. IRS. So the things that we thought we were doing for the future of people and planet have now put us in a situation where we'll figure it out, but it is neither just nor good. And so that's what the place that we are in as First Parish Church right now. So I would like to introduce, Harry, I'm right, it's time for me to introduce now? Okay, all right. They're talking. I'm like, maybe they know something I don't. And I don't have you unmuted yet, Tom, so you'll have to give me a second to run to the back, right? So many of you know Thomas Hodge Allen. He's an American author and a former politician. It's going to be a lot of clapping. Who served as a member of the United States House of Representatives representing this district, Maine's 1st congressional district, and was Democratic nominee for the U.S. Senate in 2008 against who? Holly, you guys know your history, don't you? I love it. So he was first elected in 1996, and then after his time there, he was appointed as president and CEO of the Association of American Publishers, where he started in 2009, and his book, Dangerous Convictions, What Really Went Wrong with the U.S. Congress, came out in 2013. Tom was born in Portland, Maine, and to parents who were highly involved. Which is wonderful. And graduated from Deering High, went to Bowdoin, and then you decided to leave the state. And you came back, so it's okay. But went to Oxford, and where we met Bill Clinton as a Rhodes Scholar, and then went to Harvard Law, and then practiced as a lawyer. You have run a lot of campaigns, you know that? As I was looking at that, I'm thinking, this poor guy, you know? But that's fabulous. So you became a staff member first of Curtis and later for Ed Muskie. And then elected to the City Council of Portland, Maine, was the mayor, and then as the House, and then even ran for governor too. So you did what they tell us to do, is start local and work our way up. So wonderful. So in the House of Representatives, these are the committees that he served on in the Congress. House Energy and Commerce Committee, Subcommittee on Health, Energy and High Quality Subcommittee, and Air Quality Subcommittee, Environmental and Hazardous Materials Subcommittee, the House Budget Committee, the House Affordable Medicines Task Force, which you co-chaired, which you knew that. I don't know if the rest of us did. Yeah, thanks. And then the House Oceans Caucus. And in true Maine style, when I said to folks, I moved here after you had, already been in public life, and I said, well, I haven't met him yet, but I know I will. And everybody said, oh, he's a great guy, he's a great guy, he's a great guy. And then somebody said, oh, you would not believe his blueberry patch, his low bush Maine blueberry. And I thought, only here would that be the best thing that was described to me. So maybe I've given a secret out, I don't know, but thank you. So please welcome with me Tom Allen.
Thank you very much, and I can be heard now. Thanks so much. It's wonderful to see you. It is amazing. I was called a week ago by a friend to see if I would come do this, and the answer was, of course, despite the long time I've been out of elective politics, but I am struck by the fact that you're all here, and I hope that this is a worthwhile session for all of you. I think what, for me and for many of the people I know, we have been on the edge of despair, sometimes not just on the edge, but really despairing of what's happened to this country in 2 months. We've not had a president before who, upon election, decided to cozy up to Vladimir Putin and keep Volodymyr Zelensky at arm's length. We've not had a president who's gone after almost everything that involves taking care of people who need help. And I just think it is, well, to put it simply, you are the response. This is a fantastic turnout, and I am really... All of you have somewhat different stories, but a common angst, I guess I would say. And what I hope you and we all take away from this event is we hear what other people are saying, and they're sharing their grief, they're sharing their upset, they're sharing what they feel is going wrong, and out of that sharing comes strength. So I hope and believe that if you stay with this through and keep in touch with Indivisible, that's the right name for this organization, for Harry and everyone else who's been part of it, we will be stronger. All I know is Republicans, 2 months after the inauguration, don't want to hold town meetings with their constituents. And that tells you a lot. That tells you a lot. And gradually, it may seep into the minds of some of those Republicans in the House and Senate that that's not a way to do the job. And they need to have the strength to challenge the administration. And in our case, Susan Collins is not here. I've known her a long time. I've run against her without success. But she needs pressure. She needs pressure. And you can help provide that. So, enough of that. Let's go straight to hearing what people have to say. I'm going to be right here, and we would like people to line up at these first 2 microphones who are in the front rows here. We're starting with the folks in the front row here, so if people could just wait. We're trying to prevent long lines going down the aisle, but we'll call on people.
I don't think it's working. Hello? Okay. I thought Susan was going to be here, so actually I wrote her a letter, and I'm still going to read it, that hopefully she will get it. And this is the letter. It's really short. Senator, I want you to look at me. What do you see? Do you see a human being like you? Or do you see someone who's different, a black woman, and on top of it, who has an accent? Do you believe that if I have a cut, the blood that comes out is going to be red, just like you. For a party that loves the church and holds the Bible, do you know what the two greatest commandments are? Does your party, the Republican Party, do they understand that the two greatest commandments are love your Lord your God with the totality of your being and love your neighbor as yourself? Senator Collins? Am I your neighbor? Do I fall into the category when my sister and her husband could not get access into the USAID because somebody was chicken enough not to tell them that they've lost their jobs? Are they their neighbors? Are they your neighbors? Are they regarded as Americans? I work with babies and toddlers with special needs. When we touch the Department of Education and take away services from those who are helpless, what kind of love are we showing? Is this love according to the Bible that the Republican Party upholds? Senator, my father ingrained in me the importance of a good name and living positive steps in whatever place that I find myself. We are our brother's keeper. We are asked to care for the widows, the orphans, the poor, the widowers, and the helpless. The Bible also enjoins us to love immigrants because we are all human and God's creation. I'm an immigrant. I relocated to the United States about 40 years ago, and I can tell you I'm well educated. My kids went to the best schools in the United States, and we all pay taxes. The Republican Party is choosing to lack empathy and emotional intelligence. Lastly, Senator Collins, why are we not standing up to dictators, bullies, racists, and against injustice? I am not in your shoes, Senator Collins, but if I were, I would do what is right and use my influence to protect the marginalized. I would do these things because first, I'm a Christian, and second, because I have a name to protect. Senator, I will do this not because of a party, neither would I do it because of a title. I would do it simply because it is right. I will do it because when it's all said and done, I want to face my Maker, and I want to account for the things that I have done and the things that I haven't done. Thank you.
Hello. Is this on? Okay. I also did something through love. I was a teacher at the school system in Falmouth, and students came to me looking for help, but this was back in 2008 during the last recession. Even at that time, there was a real need for food pantries throughout the state, and you might remember that we did not have very many food pantries before that time, but the recession really blossomed in food pantries all over this state. The food situation has gotten worse, especially now. And I visit, my food pantry in Falmouth serves also Westbrook and Portland and Cumberland and Yarmouth. And we do not have the clients come to our food pantry because so many of them do not have cars, but also because of the illnesses that are going around. So we home deliver with, we have probably 60, 70 volunteers that drive food to the homes and provide about a week's worth of food for each family, depending on how much they eat, varying it for dietary needs. But now we are faced with a huge cut in the food that is being provided for food pantries. USDA is being cut down in Washington, D.C. That provides for the food pantries, school systems, and other organizations about 40% of their food needs. And also, it's going to damage the farmers who we get free food from farmers who provide this food through government subsidies. And now we will not have that. So what are we supposed to do? I have a message for Susan Collins. My talk is shorter, which Senator Collins, last summer, before the 2024 election, you sponsored a bill with Senator Agnes King to extend the funding for school and summer meals for children. Now you are silent as the Trump administration is cutting $1 billion from the USDA food programs. This cut seriously impacts not only the school lunches, but will greatly reduce local food purchasing from our farmers. This will result in an approximately 40% reduction in the food to local food pantries. When will you, as chair of the Appropriations Committee in the Senate, speak up for the sake of our children, our families, and our local farmers? Because we visit families, we see all of the families. What do we tell those families who are not only dependent on the food that we bring them, but also main care and all the other benefits that are being cut in Washington, D.C.? What do we tell the lobsterman who's being squeezed because he can't go out to pull his traps during certain ways that he's now living in poverty? What do we tell the woman who lost both arms and legs and we had to struggle to even get her disability because she was refused the first time? What do we tell the parents of those little boys who I got a letter from a doctor requesting that we bring them food because they were malnourished? People cannot afford food these days, and now you are cutting it.
Hi, all. I'm going to be really quick. I just came, I don't know, Susan might, I guess I have to have a question. My name's Nicole. I'm from Buxton. I'm a veteran. I'm a grandmother. I'm an ashamed American right now, ashamed to be an American. We are supposed to be helping the poor. We are supposed to be a beacon of hope. Instead, our Republican Party has shoved their heads so far up their asses, and we are doing nothing. The Democratic Party is doing nothing. Our party, our entire country right now is being turned over as Putin's plaything. This right here is a real website. It's not a joke. Please take a look, put it down, get it all over your social media. It talks about the ties between Trump and Putin over the years. You know, we can say he's a Russian asset all we want, but you can tell by his actions he's a Russian asset. So all of our forefathers, my grandparents who fought in World War II are rolling over in their graves. They fought fascism 60 years ago, 80 years ago, and we are doing nothing about it. Join the movement and get these guys out of office. Impeach Donald Trump.
Hi, my name's Jan. I'm a retired school teacher from here in Maine. I'm 71 years old. I was going to thank Susan Collins initially, and I think I still will, even though she's not here tonight, for co-sponsoring with Senator Angus King and others to pass the Social Security Fairness Act, which was signed into law by President Biden, yes, right before he left office, thank God. Many public employees had their monthly Social Security payments reduced due to the windfall elimination provision, which is WEP, and the government pension offset. The Social Security Administration has announced a retroactive payment that would go back 1 year to January 2024. That's only 1 year. If you've been retired longer than 1 year, you're only getting 1 year of them filling in what they were keeping instead of giving you your 100%. And going forward, we should be able to continue to receive now our full benefits starting in April. As I said, I'm a retired school teacher, and I wanted to let her know that I did receive my retroactive pay, which is going to be incredibly helpful on March 10th. My concern as of today is what will happen to my monthly payments going forward. Social Security is about a half of my monthly income. The other half is my main PERS teacher pension. Together, this is less than $1,500 a month. Fortunately, when I knew I was going to be retiring, I made sure I didn't have debt and all those other things, so I managed to do okay. I don't have mortgage and things like that. My health insurance is also Medicare at this point. Medicare is taken out of your Social Security monthly, and I wonder if that's going to continue as I age. Since Trump was elected and his buddy Elon Musk have taken over our government, Social Security staff have continued to be let go, and local offices are being shut down. These benefits are not handouts. This is our money that we have had to pay. So we deserve to keep receiving this money, and even today there was something on Facebook about, April payments, are we even going to be getting them by then? My question for Senator Collins is, how can you assure me and other retirees that we will continue to receive our Social Security and our health benefits? Without these programs, I don't know how I can support myself, even in the most modest ways. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Patty Sprague. I am also a former teacher. I live in Portland. And Senator Collins, I have never voted for you, but I've actually heard some not terrible things about some votes you've taken. Just recently, I just heard someone talk about that vote, that you allowed more money coming to people who are retired and have worked in school systems and other places. I'm really concerned, though. I'm very concerned. I'm concerned about the fact that although you claim to be moderate and you claim to think through your things, your votes before you take them, I'm concerned that you voted for the most radical cabinet that has ever been seen in our country. And Senator Collins, you didn't allow us to vote for those people, but we were allowed to talk to you about it. Oh, wait, you're not here. We communicated with you over and over and over again. And there are so many horrors who are now in leadership positions in the cabinet, but I'll just mention one, Russell Vogt. And if you think that was a good vote, think about Project 2025 and where that came from, which was Viktor Orban's playbook. You have voted a man into power who is intentionally deconstructing our government system as we speak. So Susan, I now will watch with concern to see if you're going to vote in any way that can mitigate some of the terrible harm that you've done. I have heard that you support women. I'm not sure that's true, but a lot of people may have voted for you thinking that you supported women. But you must really think about not voting for something called the Shred American Voter Eligibility Act,
known as SAVE. They say safeguard, I say shred. And that vote, that legislation, that act is going to require extraordinary efforts for anyone to register to vote in a way that will permit them in their lives to keep on functioning. You have to have all kinds of documentation that is certified. And if you are a woman who has ever, oh, any women here married? Any women here change your name? Any women here divorced? You have to bring all your documentation to register the next time you register at a new place, because they will not just take one thing. You have to have all your documents. So women of a certain age, women of any age, this is an act that is against your capability to vote. So you have to, Susan, maybe you don't vote, but I'm concerned. So I'll be looking for how you vote on this. Thank you.
Hi, I don't think I need a microphone. I am loud. My name is Kathy Walter, and I live here in Gorham, and maybe you've seen me. I've been out on almost every rally in this state since Trump got elected the first time. But I'm afraid, and I'm going to make it personal, all right? Like, I lost my job right before COVID and was forced into retirement, couldn't find another job. I live alone. I don't have a support network. I don't have my mortgage paid off, and I'm just doing it, okay? I turned my front yard into a food forest to feed myself. And I'm afraid. Who's going to take care of me when I don't get Social Security? Who's going to take care of me when Medicare isn't here anymore? Who's going to take care of my children? They're grown up, but who's taking care of the LGBT community? Who's watching out for them? I'm afraid for the planet. What is the deal? Do we not believe in science anymore? Can we not see the storms raging across our country? I don't understand how we can continue to ignore it. But I ask you, Senator Collins, where the hell are you? Why are you not supporting our governor who showed that she would stand up to power? And I want to know, my last question is, why are you afraid to come talk to us?
Hi, my name is Vicki, and I'm from Westbrook, and I'm here for my son. My son Matthew is 48. He is developmentally delayed and has lived in a group home since he was 21. He's got a wonderful life. He's got friends. He's got a girlfriend of 20 years. He has a social life. He has a job. But all this is at risk with the cuts from Medicaid. And it's terrifying as an aging parent, what happens when I'm no longer around to advocate for him. And, you know, the cuts to DHHS, which is already chronically understaffed and has never really done a good job anyway, and they're still talking about more cuts. So that's Susan Collins, what's going to happen to these people who are no fault of their own, are disabled, they'll need help for the rest of their lives, and hopefully they'll be taken care of. That's my constant fear, is what happens when I die, you know, so.
Howdy, folks. My name is Bob Bush, and I'm a resident of Wyndham, along with my wife and 2 dogs. Love it. I've got to ask everybody here, you all pay taxes, correct? Everybody pay taxes? Not anymore. Well, there you go, that's a point. That's a good point. You know, at the beginning, when this country was first formed, that was the essence of it. You know, the power that we held as a people was to withhold our taxes from the king, right? Right now, we've got a confluence of power and money like we have never seen before. We've got an unelected who knows what out there directing traffic. He's, you know, usurped the power of a Congress, which is us. You know, the House of Representatives is we the people, right? They are our voice. And yet, at the same time, they have handed that voice over to a tyrant and to an unelected, I can't use the word in church, but you know what it is. So my question to Senator Collins is this: why do you expect us to pay taxes when you have stripped us of a representative government that stands for us in its constitutional powers and has abdicated that to a tyrant, a dictator, and a man who wants to own everything?
My name is Susan Hanley, and I am a retired educator as well. I actually taught in Gorham and was a school administrator here. Throughout my tenure as an educator, I tried to help people with developing their critical thinking. And part of that is also teaching people about active listening, and you're doing an excellent job tonight. Another part of that is also framing and sharing probing questions. And I have collected a couple of questions. I don't expect any answers, Susan. But I would like to float some very probing questions and leave them hanging in the air. Would you like to apologize for supporting Kennedy for being the head of HHS? And putting children at risk with his reprehensible advice for treating measles? How can you abide seeing children suffer? Question number 2, what might be, were you threatened with harm when you went to Mar-a-Lago? And is that why you did a 180 on your beliefs? Given that Trump has empowered Putin, causing the deaths of many Ukrainians. He's supported Netanyahu, who has restarted the war in Gaza, killing hundreds more. He's disconnected the U.S. from Europe, and he's destroying our democracy. What are you doing about this? My last question. Now that Trump has made it clear that he and his administration feel the laws of the land do not apply to them, what actions do you intend to take as a congressperson to help hold them to the rule of law, along with our lawyers in court and judges, and protect and uphold our democracy?
Hello, everyone. My name is Jan Chapman, and I'm from Cape Elizabeth. And I'm here as a grandmother of a 17-year-old trans grandson. Thank you. Thank you. He's a great kid. We love him very much, and he is well supported by our family. I'm so grateful that he was able to access gender-affirming care, which he got only after a great deal of angst, research by his parents, family therapy, and consultation with his healthcare professionals. We are very concerned about his safety, and his mother has been exploring places, meaning other countries, where he might go if he feels unsafe here. There's a heated debate in Maine about trans girls participating in girls' sports. There are two issues at the heart of this debate. One, we as a society want all kids to have the opportunity to play sports. Two, we also want to see fairness in competition. This is not a conflict that will be solved easily. I don't have any answers, but I do know it is shameful to target, bully, and discriminate against children. Thank you. Thank you. Against children who are dealing with gender identity issues. These kids need our support, acceptance of who they are, and are made to feel they matter. The budget passed last week excluded gender-affirming care for children in military families. And Trump wants to expel all trans individuals from the military. His executive order from January declared that being trans, quote, conflicts with a soldier's commitment to an honorable, truthful, and disciplined lifestyle, and that it is not consistent with the humility and selflessness required of a service member. Yeah, yes. Just yesterday, federal judge Anna Reyes blocked Trump's executive order. Yes. She characterized the ban as, quote, soaked in animus and dripping with pretext. Its language is unabashedly demeaning. Its policy stigmatizes transgender persons as inherently unfit, and its conclusions bear no relation to fact. Constitutional democracy requires majority rule with minority rights. In his first inaugural address, Thomas Jefferson said these words, "All will bear in mind this sacred principle, that though the will of the majority is in all cases to prevail, that will to be rightful must be reasonable, that the minority possesses their equal rights, which equal law must protect, and to violate would be oppression." Trans individuals are a very small percentage of our population. They are being targeted and politicized for the purpose of dividing us. My question for Susan Collins is, when will you speak up about transgender rights? Thank you.
Hi, I'm going to record this because I'm a millennial. I was asked to speak. I was not prepared to speak, but I was asked to speak because there's not a lot of people my age here. Thank you for being here. Where are we? We're at our second job. We're at our third job. We're at our fourth job. We're door dashing. We're raising our babies that we're terrified about the world that they're stepping into. Or, like a lot of my dear loved ones that are around my age, we're just petrified. Actually petrified. multiple conversations, even I invited many people to this, and I got a lot of, I just can't handle it. I just can't deal. I think as I was getting ready to come here tonight, what I was thinking about is kind of how, and I would say Republicans, but it's not Republicans because my grandparents were Republicans. And my grandmother donated thousands upon thousands of dollars to indigenous tribes around the country because, as she always said to me, they were here first. And she was a Republican. Being a Republican doesn't mean that you are not educated, right? But there's now become this subset of people. And so I'm speaking to them. I think that they think that millennials in particular have this woke agenda to be extremely lazy and have $8 lattes every day and yes. We just want all the things that you guys got to have with one job. Yeah. Yeah, well, I did. The thing is that I think, I just want to shift the narrative, again, of this agenda, because the reality is most of the people my age are not thinking about, I'm so worried that a boy is going to be in my little girl's soccer group. Nobody is thinking about that. Literally nobody. Nobody is thinking about that. I don't know how else to say it. Nobody is thinking about that. We are thinking about, most of my friends, I'm lucky enough because I got nice student loans because I was low income. So my student loans are somewhat manageable, even though I have $70,000 still, and I'm 33. And I was never able to pursue anything with my 2 degrees. Yeah. Anyways, most of my friends, their payments are around $1,000 to $1,500 a month, student loans. I don't own a home, even though I work incredibly hard. I've owned my own business. I work incredibly hard, like the rest of my generation. I look at homes in the area. $350,000 is my filter. 0 comes up in my area. I'm from Biddeford. And a $350,000 house is what? $2,500 a month, $3,000 a month. That's $4,500 a month to pay one bill and to have a roof. That's not food. That's not all these other things. So where am I going with this? We don't have a grand agenda. When I was 17, I went to Kent State University's campus, which is ironic for a lot of reasons. If you know, you know. And had a dream of being a professor. Got 2 degrees, and my professors at the end of my college experience said to me, do not go into higher education. The money is not there, the support is not there, the funding is not there. So I've had to figure it out from there, and I have, but we're tired, and we're still very young, and that's what I think scares us, is we're like, why are we so tired? Why are we so scared? And really, I think what I would like to say to you, Susan Collins, is there's no grand agenda. We really just want what I think everyone wants, which is, and I mean, I'm even going to say it. Like, I see Trump and his granddaughter having this sweet relationship. Whether you think it's a load of bullcrap or not, I choose to see the human in him. I try every day. I try, and it's hard because it's the only thing that will get me through. And I believe he has love for his granddaughter. We want that. We want kids. We want grandkids. We want a house. We want a backyard. We don't need Mar-a-Lago. We just want something this big would be fabulous. We just want that. We have love. Just believe the way that I believe J.D. Vance loves his kids. And I am from Appalachia just like him. And I don't know where all of his rhetoric is coming from. I think he'd be a little bit more humble coming from where he came from. But so I guess my ask is, when you are voting, please, and I'm talking about the politicians, like, we don't have an agenda. There's not a woke agenda. Please put it aside. We want what everyone has always wanted. We just want it to continue. And we do not see the light anymore, and that's why we're not here. We don't see the light.
Hi, I'm Jenny Donovan from Brunswick, and I just wanted to start by saying that I wasn't paid to be here, but if that's an option, let me know. My story has two parts. The first involves my livelihood. I've been a freelance writer and editor for the last 11 years, and last year business was the best it's been since the pandemic. This year, not so much. Some of my clients rely on grant funding, and because that funding has been frozen, so has the work coming my way. It's been scarily slow, and with no assurances that they will receive the funding they are legally entitled to, I started applying for jobs and looking for more clients. The second part of my story involves federal student loans. President Biden enacted the SAVE plan last year, which was a godsend to me and the 42.7 million other borrowers. It lowered our monthly payments to an affordable amount, and it paid any interest each month that our payments didn't cover, so we wouldn't accrue more interest. To put that into perspective, over half of what I owe is interest. In April 2024, 7 state Republican attorneys general filed a lawsuit challenging Biden's authority to create SAVE for God knows what reason. Following a series of court actions during which enrollees in the SAVE plan have been unable to pay off our loans or work towards forgiveness, the U.S. Court of Appeals for the 8th Circuit has now issued an injunction to block the SAVE plan indefinitely. The Department of Education under the Trump administration has now released a memo directing student loan servicers to stop accepting and processing all income-driven repayment applications for 3 months while waiting for a final ruling. This leaves only the most expensive repayment plans. What that means for me is that in about 6 months, I'm supposed to start paying over $3,000 a month on my student loans. And of course, I'm not alone. The number of people who will be forced to defer, go into forbearance, or default on their loans will be numbers like we've never seen. Trump and company have also said they're going to, or have, I can't keep up, canceled all student loan forgiveness. That means we pay until we die. Nelnet, the servicer of federal student loans, has always been great at helping you when you need it. But Trump and company are talking about moving the collection of student loans under the Treasury Department. I don't know what that means, but I'm thinking it's not good. So this is what's keeping me up at night. And my question for Senator Collins is, what are you doing about any of this? You, the chair of the Appropriations Committee, what are you doing to fight for us?
Hi, everybody. My name is Julia. I'm 19 years old. I'm a college student. I'm actually home for spring break right now. And I'm really glad that I get to speak here because I think that it's, thank you, I'm not as tall. I think that it's really important, just to hear a voice from somebody who's younger. So yeah, as I said, I'm 19, but unfortunately have had to mentally be an adult for a lot longer than I've needed to because of this government. I remember Election Day, being in the living room with a bunch of my friends. We were thinking, let's have a little fun, maybe there's some hope, let's try and lighten stuff up, play some music. And then it just happened, and we just kind of sat there. We didn't have any words, really, because I think that deep down, that was when we knew that our country was going to start falling apart. And so I told you my name, but who am I? I'm a gay woman, and I'm a student, and I would like to get married one day. I would love for that to happen. Thank you. Yeah, I want to be human just like anybody else. And watching this happen is scary, and I'm thinking about people my age, but my question for Susan Collins is, what is the world that you want to create for young people? Thank you.
Hi, my name's Jonathan Zuckerman. I live in Portland, and I'm a physician. I work at Maine Medical Center. I'm trained as a pulmonologist, a lung doctor, and also a critical care physician. And I've just been so blown away by the shares that people have expressed tonight. I'm going to be speaking off the cuff, and I'm going to try to just stay in my lane and talk about something that I think I know a little bit more about than the average citizen, and that's about health care. I've actually met with Susan Collins and talked to her about some healthcare issues as part of a committee working with people with a chronic lung disease. And I have to say that during the COVID pandemic, when we were working in the ICU, what comes to mind to me is how the trust that I'd come to know working with my patients over 38 years. So I've been working for 25 years in Maine. Having politics inject itself into a conversation with my own patients, people who trusted me for many years. One of them landed in the ICU. I was taking care of him with COVID, and he asked me for hydroxychloroquine. And I said, if I thought that would work, I'd have no problem giving it to you. But why are you, I've been your doctor for 10 years, and you're not trusting me, you're trusting something on the news. So my question to Susan Collins is about the cabinet level positions that have been selected. Those should be our very top-notch people. They shouldn't just be passable. And I love what somebody said about having reservations, had concerns. She said that she had concerns about Robert Kennedy. What was it that he told you in your conversation that changed your mind? That's my... And part B, it's related to the same question. Now do you have regrets? Now that the CDC has canceled meetings to come up with new vaccines for the yearly updates, we're not doing boosters, we're doing new vaccines to cover the latest variant of a virus that's in the community. So that was just recently canceled. So, all right. With that, I will pass to my friend, Dr. Paul.
Hello, I'm Paul Rudenberg, and I live in Falmouth, Maine. I'm a veterinarian. Senator Collins, where's Senator Collins? Okay. Senator Collins, I want to thank you for what you're going to do during this next year to support the people of Maine and our opinions, because we're here as Mainers to speak about what we want you to do. Please listen to us. I'm a veterinarian. I worked for 25 years in the country of Haiti. My great-grandfather was an immigrant from Russia to Germany. My grandfather was an immigrant to the U.S. My father was an immigrant to the U.S. My wife is an immigrant from the Caribbean. My children were born in the Caribbean, but U.S. citizens. My two nephews and my niece are here legally with residency. And I have to say, as a family of immigrants, Senator Collins, we shouldn't be afraid. We shouldn't be afraid. We're in the United States. We're all here as immigrants, as legal people that are serving. I have family members that are serving tables, that are working in grocery stores. I have family members that are taking care of the elderly, cleaning up when it needs to be, things need to be cleaned up. There are people that are serving, that are working in this country. Why are they afraid? My nephews and niece are afraid to go to their English class in Portland, Maine, because of the situation. And that was planned. That was planned by my own government, that immigrants would be afraid. My wife, who's a U.S. citizen, has a U.S. passport, is afraid to travel right now. And it's not because of the cutbacks of the FAA and the number of accidents that's happened, because she's afraid to go through immigration or to present her passport, her American passport. Why is she afraid? Senator Collins, what are you going to do about the situation where our government is making the citizens afraid? Now, I worked in Haiti 25 years. We have a house there. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to visit it for 3 years because of the situation with the violence there and the gangs. And I'll have you know that part of the reason there's this much violence is because of American arms that are smuggled into Haiti. And the gun companies in the U.S. know about that. Secondly, because of the drugs that are going through Haiti to the United States, and because of drug money from the United States going to Haiti. These are all part of the equation. But for some reason, even though it's not safe to walk a quarter of a mile in Port-au-Prince or anywhere, and that there are no airlines that will fly into Port-au-Prince right now, none of them are flying at least through June this year, why, if there are 500,000 Haitians that are staying in the U.S. that had temporary protected status, why have you withdrawn that status where it's not even safe to land a plane in Haiti right now? Why is there so much hatred of people? Where's the compassion? Where's the compassion in our government right now? Bear with me, I usually use a flip phone. I borrowed this, okay. So, third thing I want to mention is while I was in Haiti, I worked a lot of, as a veterinarian, I worked with animal health people, but I also worked in a cholera program, and I worked after the huge earthquake in 2010, worked with handing out hundreds and hundreds of USAID tarps to people that were sleeping on the sides of the street because they didn't have a home anymore, or because they couldn't go home, they were afraid to go home. We distributed this. There were several 100,000 tarps that were distributed that said USAID on them, and they got out to people that needed a shelter. I worked alongside of health agents that maybe earned $100 a month or $200 a month, and they were bringing HIV medicines because of the PEPFAR program to people way up in the mountains, way up in rural areas, so they could get their HIV treatment each month. And this is a fantastic, amazing program that's been going on, started by President Bush, and has maybe saved 21 million lives. And these health agents were also giving out malaria medicine. We have a lot of malaria in Haiti, saving lives. If you get malaria and you get typhoid at the same time, as a child, it can be a death sentence, but treatment was available. And also helping people, the health workers are helping people with treatment for tuberculosis. Tuberculosis is a disease that if you continue treatment on schedule for many, many months, even for a year, you can be cured. But if you don't, if you stop the treatment in the middle, what happens is that resistant varieties of the mycobacterium begin to develop, and you cannot be treated. There's no other medicine that can treat you. So why would my government take a program called USAID that is maybe 1/3% of the budget and demolish that program? And when you have contracts with health workers and you have medicines in warehouses, why would you stop giving out malaria medicine? Why would you stop Why would you stop giving out HIV medicine? Why would you stop giving out tuberculosis medicine? Why would you cause health clinics to close when that's not going to change anything about the deficit? That's not even going to fund your tax rip-off. That's not right. Tax. Yeah. This is not going to help change anything in this country, and it's not hurting to provide life-saving medicines. Why did you demolish? Why did you and Mr. Musk demolish USAID, one of the amazing programs that we have in this country? And what are you going to do? Are you going to follow the court orders that have demanded that you return the funding and return this organization? So I just want to say, I know people that have suffered and that are going to suffer more because of this situation. Thank you very much.
If I could break in just for a minute. As this goes on, speakers tend to get a little longer. So there are so many people who still want to speak that I would ask everyone to try. Ask everyone to try to shorten up a bit across the board. That would be terrific. Thank you. This is a compelling experience.
My name is Ann Callender. I'm from Portland, Maine. Senator Collins, earlier this year, I wrote to ask you not to vote for the Laken-Riley Act. My fear and my take on this bill that it would pave the way for the Trump regime's extreme, racist, anti-immigrant, mass deportation agenda. The bill was written to allow for indefinite detention for undocumented individuals merely accused of a crime. In your January 27th response to my concerns, you wanted to clarify the purpose and the intended effect of this legislation, which you were co-sponsoring, which you felt had been subjected to considerable confusion. After 3 paragraphs of evidence to a Venezuelan murderer's criminal behavior that prompted this bill, you stated that this legislation only applies to non-citizens who entered the country illegally and have been arrested for breaking the law. It does not require ICE to deport such individuals, rather requires ICE to detain them pending adjunction of their immigration status, instead of being released into the community. The United States' willingness to welcome immigrants is an important demonstration of our nation's continued commitment to human rights and the rule of law, and it's important that we treat all immigrants in a humane and respectful manner. These are Susan Collins' words to me in her letter, which I don't really believe. She says, I believe it's possible to do so without jeopardizing public safety or national security. And as I have done through my service to the Senate, I will continue to conduct diligent oversight of the executive branch to ensure that the administration's actions related to immigration are appropriate. I felt the same way. So, Senator Collins, on Saturday, March 8th, Mr. Kahali, a Palestinian who had a green card, was arrested by ICE because he had been in the forefront of anti-war protests critical of Israel's assault on his homeland of Gaza. This man did not enter the country illegally. He had proper documents to live and work in the U.S. He did not break the law. He was arrested and transported from New York to Louisiana because of the vindictive viciousness of a profoundly racist leader. Despite of your assurances that the administration would protect human rights and the rule of law, this has not been the case in this instance or many others. Not only has this law been exploited, but Mr. Kahali's constitutional rights have been violated. He's still being held. His First Amendment rights have been violated. His Fourth Amendment rights have been violated. His Fifth, Sixth, and Eighth Amendments most likely be violated as well. Since then, we've had 3 plane loads of people were shipped to El Salvador without due process. Senator Collins, I want you to do what you said you would do. Continue to conduct diligent oversight of the executive branch to ensure that the administration's actions related to immigration are appropriate. The administration's actions have not been appropriate. They're getting bolder by the day with their breaks from the Constitution. I will declare that we are in full constitutional crisis, and it is time for Senator Collins to stand up for the rights of all people. I have friends, family, employees that are all immigrants. It's dehumanizing, racist actions championed by our president are devastating and traumatizing. I'm ashamed of the cruelty of my nation, and I'm in the disgraceful actions that we're now forced to endure. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Jan, and I didn't plan on speaking tonight, so I'll try to be brief. I live in South Paris, Maine. When I look out over the people here, I see people who are gray like me, and I said, gee, you know, I didn't protest in the 70s, but I am now protesting in my 70s. Okay? What can I say? And part of the reason I'm protesting is because I'm a veteran. I spent 33 years in the Army as an Army nurse. I can tell you I never once looked to see who was serving beside me, whether they were gay, straight, pink, purple, yellow, black. They had my back and I had theirs. So I look at that as a woman, as a veteran, as an educator in a nurse practitioner practice now, and most importantly for me, despite that little bit of chronology, I'm a grandmother. I have two precious, precious granddaughters, and at this moment, they have fewer rights than I have enjoyed all of my life. As a veteran who plans on being buried in Arlington National Cemetery, I am no little bit horrified by the fact that right now, the websites and links to women veterans, to color veterans, people of color veterans, those links are removed from Arlington National Cemetery's website. As a healthcare provider, I am horrified that a transplant doc from Brown University was deported because of some of her beliefs. As a grandmother, I said, I'm horrified, and I do this for my granddaughters. My question for Susan Collins is, Susan, when are you going to stand up for me, the young people here, my granddaughters, and support our rights as equals to our male, straight counterparts? It is an abomination. Thank you.
Hello. Oh, yeah, there it is. Good evening. My name's Kathy McCatherine, and I work in the mental health field. I'm a psychotherapist. I live in Falmouth. I'm trying, definitely trying. And I'm going to read a little scenario from one of a client. And it's an employment issue, but really an employment issue is a mental health issue. I think we all know that. So I'll read, it's very brief, I'll read it, and then I'll make a few comments about what I'm seeing coming through my doors these days. Okay, so a client works for HUD. He had lived and worked remotely in Portland, but was forced to commute to a governmental office in Boston in an attempt to get him to resign. At the Boston office, there is not enough room for everyone who goes there now, and he has no direct colleagues in that location. So he's essentially conducting Zoom meetings there as he had from his home. This change is at a great sacrifice to his family, as he has two small children under the age of 3. He must get on a train at 5 a.m. and gets home at 7 p.m. This has created great hardship for his family, particularly his wife, who now bears the brunt of the labor at home as she holds down a full-time job. This man was an exemplary employee with promotions and recognitions to prove that fact. So here's one example, and what I'm seeing, and I'm sure all of you are feeling this, is just a lot of anxiety, uncertainty, panic, desperation, and fear. People are really afraid, and for good reason. And so I want to know, Susan Collins, where will you be when there is the next mass shooting because someone is so unhinged by all these cuts that they just lose it? Where will you be? And where will you be when theft in our country goes up because people are desperate to feed their families? Where will you be? And I think, as everything is so uncertain around our financial status, in terms of Social Security and Medicare, health insurance, and people aren't going to be able to afford mental health services, and the VA is laying off mental health workers. So that entire sector is compromised as well. But I would have to say, Susan Collins, that the most unhinged among us happens to be our commander-in-chief.
Hello. I've got there. Okay, there we go. My name is Michelle Lesbrance. I live in Portland, Maine. No? How about here? Wow, I gotta get really close to this thing. I would like to talk first about the careful, diligent oversight that was presented earlier, because I find that horrifying that could come out of her office and have her believe it in some way. So I actually think that she is in some sort of coma, and I'm here to try to wake her up. So I am someone who is retired. I'm going to be worried about Medicaid and Medicare and everything like everyone else, but I want to talk a little bit about the part about education and cutting education, because my daughter from preschool on received extra help and is now a productive member of society. I don't think that without that help, she would have had such a smooth transition. And it's been beautiful, and I'm very thankful for our Department of Education, which is, I guess, no longer. So anyway, in the last 2 months, I've been told to call my Congress members, and I've called them more than my own relatives. Things continue to be damaged, dismantled, destroyed. I don't know if you're awake, but the first thing Trump did is he got rid of all the inspector generals. No more checks and balances or accountability for Trump. Oh no. Next, he gave deep cuts to national parks, which make up 1/15 of 1% of the federal budget, so that really saved a lot of money. And then there was Department of Education, and now he's picking on the vets and Medicare and Medicaid and everyone else, really. That's too long of a list. Then he pardoned people who violently attacked and harmed our Capitol Police Force. And this is why I think you're in a coma, because didn't you notice this at any point in time? With Republican support and others, Trump and Vance have happily stood by as Elon Musk, that no one elected or vetted or has even come in front of Congress, moved his Starlink operations into the White House. And currently, he's trying to take over something called Automated Clearinghouse, which controls automated deposits for millions of us who receive direct deposits of our paychecks. This is a clear abuse of power. But what got me beyond scared and into angry, and you don't want me, an Irish woman, to be angry. What really got me into that arena was this quote. Elon Musk proudly stated, "Empathy is the weakness of our civilization." And Social Security is a Ponzi scheme. On several podcasts. I think everybody in here, I can pretty much vouch because of your hair. It's a telltale sign. Okay, I think you probably worked and paid into Social Security like me, 40 years or so. Unlike Musk, who paid less taxes than all of us. So he also warned us that we would all have to suffer, and yet he takes in some of the biggest government grants ever. Have you noticed that in any of your committees? So I'd like to also define the word efficiency, because I think that is something that you're having trouble with, obviously, with these words, diligently overseeing. Efficiency is not slashing programs that work. If you want to cut waste or look for waste, you bring in auditors, not young, unvetted computer coders that access our private data, take our money, and have power to ruin citizens' lives, as you have heard today. He's clearly ignoring constitutional laws, and Congress and the court system seem unable to stop him. That would be you. Wake up. This is clearly a crisis. What are you going to do to help the vets who have the funds slashed? What are you going to do with the seniors on Medicaid and Medicare who no longer have money? How are you fighting to remove Musk? Change the tax structure so Musk and others like him pay their fair share. Most importantly, what are you going to do to stop rapidly becoming a dictatorship, people? You took an oath to protect us against enemies, both foreign and domestic. Wake up. They are now in power. Make lying wrong again. Make lying wrong again. Make lying wrong again.
Hi, I'm Anders. I'm from Portland. I was also asked to speak because of the demographics in the room. Just real quick, by show of hands, who's under 35? Oh, we actually got like 10 of us. Look at that. Actually, fun fact, when Susan Collins ran for Senate in 1996, she promised that she would only run for 2 terms. She made that promise when I was 4 years old. I am 33 now. What? Sorry. So I just want to real quick touch on what my peer mentioned about why there is so few young people here. I don't know if I can convey to you the amount of apathy and hopelessness that our generation has felt around the political process for my entire adult life. Yeah, the Republicans or conservatives have been constantly moving to the right until they finally just embraced fascism, and the Democrats have put up virtually no fight to that rise of fascism. That is why we don't care for either party. We are looking for, again, the bare minimum. We just want universal health care. Give it to everybody, please. Address climate change. Tax billionaires. It's not that hard. I personally have always had an interest in politics, and that's why I'm so engaged, but a lot of my peers are not. And it's hard because of that hopelessness and apathy. But where we are right now, apathy is no longer an option. We have to be able to give people a hope and motivation to build a better future. And the government is capable and possible of doing that. You're just choosing not to. And the Democrats have not put up any meaningful resistance to the rise of fascism, and neither has the Republicans. It's awful. So I just want to get that off my chest and sort of tell you guys why my generation is just so hopeless. And just some more examples. I live in Portland. I pay probably 60% of my income towards rent. I use Maine Care because I can't afford health insurance. Thank God for Maine Care. It's just, I have no hope of ever owning a home. I don't think I'm going to retire. I have no retirement savings. I'm going to work till I die, or in a shootout with a fascist paramilitary, or maybe in one of RFK's wellness camps. Those are my options for the future. Unless we actually get up, mobilize, organize, and change things. So, one final thing. So, for all of you who are in the generations above me, I am asking you, begging you, talk to your sons, daughters, nieces, nephews, people my age. Tell them that there is a future that is possible. That's all we need to hear. We just want to work for it and make it happen.
Hey y'all, I have the microphone again. Sorry, this is the magic. We are getting really close on time here, so because I'm back at the soundboard, I'm going to give you 2 minutes, and if you're not done, I'm fading you out, okay? Thank you all.
Hello, testing. Can you hear me? Okay. I'm going to make this real short. Mine was short anyway. I have no script. I'm Ted Carter. I live in Buxton, Maine. I own a landscape design build company. It's been employee-owned for 7 years. Boy, whoever choreographed this was perfect. This gentleman that stood up. My company employs lots of young people, and my heart breaks for them every day. They work so hard, and they are not lazy, and they put everything into it. And when I was 19 years old, I bought my first house. It was $32,000. It had a horse barn and 2 acres, 3 bedrooms. It was colonial. I put $6,000 down and moved in. That same house now is over $700,000. So, this is just disgusting to me that these kids, my heart breaks for them. And I just say, and by the way, we've ordered some attachments to our equipment. One attachment was $13,800. Now it's going to be almost $17,000 with the tariffs. I'd like to know where that money is going to go. By the way, all our pickup trucks are made in Ontario, Canada. The average cost of a pickup truck now is going to be $12,000 more a pickup truck because of the tariffs. Where's all that money going? Can we have accountability on that? So anyway, and I'm not in financial hardship at all, but I feel so much pain for all of you who are, and it breaks my heart as an American. So God bless all of you.
Hi, my name's John Collins. No relation. I live in Biddeford. We stand outside her office in Biddeford, Main Street, every Friday. Started out, it was 1 or 2 of us. There were 150 last week. Come and join us. My question to the senator is, what do you want your legacy to be? You said you're going to run in 2026. She didn't have a chance, right? So it should be liberating. You could get a spine, do the right thing. I mean, be selfish. Think of your legacy. You're a Republican. Being selfish is right in your comfort zone. So the other thing I want to say is I did what I was told. I listened, and I heard an awful lot of really compelling things that are bad and problems and personal problems, but I didn't hear a lot of action. I heard one, don't pay your taxes. Now, I mean it. So I owe 5 years now, 4 years from the first term. And they are, anyway, but the other thing I heard, the New Yorker radio hour on Saturday a couple weeks ago, the ACLU executive director was on. They asked him, what are you going to do? We'll take them to court. What if they don't listen to the court? Then we're going to do civil disobedience. He said, what if that doesn't work? And the ACLU executive director, he said, we're going to shut the country down. And he said there are lots of ongoing conversations. We're already in progress on making plans to do that. So be ready and be part of it. The other thing, for my personal mental health, what I'm doing is going out on my front porch or on my back deck every day at sunset, and I just take a deep breath and I say, I'm mad as hell, and I'm not going to take it anymore.
Hi, I'm going to make this as quick as I can. My name is Ellie, and I'm from Saco, and I'm 21 years old, but you should know that my friends and I are all young voters, as well as the future of America. And we are paying attention to what you do and what you don't do to ensure our government is working on our behalf and not against us. I'm a junior at the University of New Hampshire, and I study human development and family studies. And I and many of my friends rely on student loans to help us pay for school, and we're just skimming by. I knew college would be work, but I was also told that it would be the best 4 years of my life from the older generations. Instead, mine and other college student stress is at an all-time high. Almost every single one of my friends at university is employed at least 2 jobs, while also being a full-time college student, just so we can afford to live away from home. So my question is, what are you doing to protect our access to federal student loans so that we are not subjected to predatory lending by private companies? And, and most importantly, what are you doing to make sure there's a future job opportunities and with livable wages for the younger generations, including my own and my future children?
My name's Lee Chisholm. My home is in Freeport. I'm 75 years old. I rely on Social Security, and so do many of my friends. Elon Musk has called the Social Security system a Ponzi scheme. He has begun setting it up for failure by laying people off, by offering every Social Security employee early retirement, and by attempting to weaken the way Americans reach the SSA to ask questions and file claims. Like so much else of what the Doge and the Trump administration have been doing, I find this cruel, arbitrary, and infuriating. That much the more so because it's the richest man in the world who's taking it out against 70 million old or disabled, vulnerable people. I want to ask Senator Collins, I want to ask you whether you share these concerns of mine, and what are you now doing about it?
Hello, everybody. My name is Greg. I live in Lewiston. I'm here to speak about, there was a grandmother up here earlier, spoke about her trans grandson. I'm a father of 2 trans children. So I want to educate Susan Collins a little bit, because where the trans issue goes wrong, it's the gender affirming care. So for everybody out here who doesn't know, and Susan, you obviously don't know, gender affirming care under the age of 12 basically is calling your child by a different name, letting them grow their hair or cut their hair, change the clothes that they wear every day, and potentially depending on their gender dysphoria, they might get puberty blockers, or they might, they don't start, hormones won't start before 12, okay? So, and then surgeries. In the United States, between the ages of 0 and 12, there are 0 surgeries for children trans. From 13 to 15, it's 0.01 out of 100,000. And then from 15 to 17, it's 2.1 out of 100,000. Okay, so, so that's some of the fear mongering going on with that. So again, just, trans rights are human rights. Now, ask my question. Susan, when are you going to place a no vote that actually matters? And lastly, I just want to say, it's no men until it's all men.
I'm going to step right up to the mic and keep it going here. Good evening, everyone. I'm really excited to be here. My name is Susan. I'm from Freeport. I am going to channel Meredith Brooks for a moment. I'm a witch. I'm a mother. I'm a sinner and a saint. Okay? I am a Mainer. I am a veteran. I am a former RN, and I am a small business owner in the city of Freeport, Maine. I have a complex household with 6 adults in all varying different lifestyles, varying ages, varying everything, but we love and have compassion for one another. And I am a Republican. And I do not support this administration. We're going to get them. We're going to get them. Let's be honest. Maine deserves better. For 3 decades, our senator has promised moderation results. But look around. Healthcare costs are soaring. People can't afford their inhalers in the hospital. Inhalers. EpiPens. Anyone remember that? When are we going to stop letting the rich take advantage of us? Lobstermen are fighting for survival here in Maine. My father was one when I was young. Coastal towns are bracing for storms, and the president has threatened to take away funding from our state. And too many in our state feel left behind. It's time to ask, who has this leadership truly served?
My name is Karen. I'm a retired pastor. I'm 73, and I used to serve people who are in the gray category quite often. And I've been getting a lot of Social Security emails recently that are indicating what they're trying to do is get efficiency through artificial intelligence and algorithms, devoid of compassion for the very constituency it is meant to serve. The purpose is to replace the people of our government with machinery. This is the very opposite of what it means to be an American. It is the opposite of a government of the people, by the people, and for the people. It is simply inhumane. We all recognize it here tonight, and why don't our representatives, including you, Susan Collins?
Hello, my name is Becca. I just want to remind everybody of 50/50 movement, and on April 5th, there's another protest at the Capitol, so if you guys, just so you know, your public service announcement. And the other thing, actually, I have a question. Well, Susan Collins, if you want to answer any of my emails or any of my phone calls or anything that I've done over the last 2 months, that would be great. I'm still waiting. And this question actually is for you, and people may not like this question, but I think that our president is committing treason, and I'd like to know, what you know about what the next steps are when he continues to not listen to the judges. And I mean, it's great that we have all these lawsuits and all this stuff, but and that doesn't give me comfort. It doesn't give me comfort at all, because he's not following the law. So what's next? I am asking you, because she's not here.
If you're asking me, what I would say is this is a long game, but there's nothing that can match this over time. Nothing that can match it. So the people in this room tonight have to remember what happened here and keep doing this sort of thing, because...
Thank you.
I do not believe that what the Trump administration is trying to do is sustainable without this kind of uprising all across the country. And sooner or later, Republicans who don't dare to do town halls will find out that they're not going to have much of a chance in 2 years.
Hi, my name is Merritt Freeman. I'm from Portland. I've worked for most of my career as a government contractor. And in that role, two things. First of all, I've worked side by side with people from the federal government, people who are strong, smart, talented, dedicated to their work. And Susan, I think that the way that these people, so many hundreds of thousands of people have been fired wrongly, is absolutely disgraceful, and you should be embarrassed about that. Second of all, in my work that I do, I follow budgets, I follow contract awards, I follow the inner workings of the government regularly. I know that there is waste. I know that we are immensely in debt, and just like all of us have to balance our checkbooks at the end of the month, pay our credit card bills, all of that, our government should be responsible for doing that as well and bringing down our deficit. But Susan, that is your job as a congressperson. And right now you are abdicating that responsibility and letting somebody else do it. So Susan, my question for you is, when are you going to do your job and deal with the budget responsibly?
Al Little, I live in Westbrook, and I was afraid if Senator Collins didn't show tonight, I'd have to take out an ad desperately seeking Susan and see how that would work. But Senator Collins, my question now that you're here is this budget that's so terrible with waste, fraud, and abuse, do you have any idea who could have possibly created that budget? What possible committee in Congress that is chaired by an invisible woman creates budgets? I was hoping, is it the Appropriations Committee? And or is there not waste and fraud and abuse in the budget? Is there actually a plan to save money so we can give tax cuts to the wealthy and corporations? I'm just curious.
Just to give everybody a heads up, the people that are standing at the microphones now, they would be our last 4 speakers, okay? And then we have some announcements. Thanks.
Claudette Thing, I live in Portland. And to follow what that lady said, you know, what next, and what Mr. Allen said, there is a woman who does research on overthrow of dictatorships, very well renowned. Her name is Chenoweth. And she has found and proven that it takes 3.5%, you know, of the population to sustain peaceful protest. And once you reach that threshold in the streets, the regimes topple. So what you said is true. You have to keep it up. 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 So in case that doesn't happen, I have a question for Susan Collins. I'm falling through the grate. How will you feel on July 4th of 2026 when we are celebrating our 250th anniversary, sitting on a reviewing stand, because that's what's going to happen, sitting on a reviewing stand behind Trump and probably Putin, watching a military parade, celebrating our subjugation instead of celebrating our independence? How are you going to feel?
Hi, everybody. Is it working? Okay. My name is Heather Robinson, so I was asked to speak. I did not prepare a speech, so because I'm a millennial, the first thing I did was ChatGPT it. I was like, let's use AI a little bit. But I'm also everything Mega hates. So I'm a pansexual person. I have a trans partner. I have a 3-year-old daughter. And when I found out I was pregnant and Roe v. Wade was overturned, I was devastated. And I don't think anybody that gets pregnant, they should feel happy. They should feel really, really happy. I was devastated about the person I was bringing in to this world and raising. She's 3 years old now. She's amazing, but I am very concerned about what is happening in the world. I'm very concerned about her rights, my marriage being overturned. Granted, hopefully not in Maine, but my marriage being overturned. And then also I have my in-laws that live with me. And then I also have my parents that are on Social Security. It is very, very sad what we are going through. And I do think we need to mobilize the younger group. I'm looking around this room and we are hopeless. I will be honest. I miss the days, and I can remember them very vaguely when I was 18. I miss the days when I did not have to care about politics. I miss the days when I didn't have to keep tabs on what the government was doing and peek into what the government was doing. Do you guys miss those days? Talk to young people. Talk to young people. Okay.
Good evening, Senator Collins. My name's Dale Thompson. I'm from Winthrop, Maine. I'm a veteran, I'm a father, I'm a husband, and I'm a very concerned constituent. My question for you is very similar to so many people have asked you tonight. Where have you been? When Elon Musk gave his Nazi salute on stage and was celebrated by your party, where were you? Where were you to stand up to say that white supremacy has no place in this country? When Doge was stood up, where were you to remind the president that standing up these organizations rests with the Congress? When USAID was shut down, where were you to remind him that he didn't have that power? That rested with you. When sitting members of Congress were denied access, their rightful and obligatory access to the Department of Treasury by a single ununiformed man and 4 police officers, where the hell were you? When our current president threatened to annex Canada, buy Greenland, and take Panama by force if necessary, where the hell were you? When Trump and Vance ambushed our ally in the Oval Office in favor of our adversary, Putin, where the hell were you? When Trump threatened our governor to cut off funding for our children, my children, where the hell were you? I thought Congress held the purse strings. I thought you chaired the board that holds the purse strings. Where the hell were you?
I really can't top that, and I think that should be the last comment, but as one of the young people in the room, I'm 20 years old, I'm a social science student. Yes, I'm sorry, I'm 20 years old, I'm a social science student, and as one of the young people in the room, I want to say that drag your grandkids here, drag your kids here, because people of my generation and slightly older, as you've heard, are under intense pressure, but they're also wanting for community. The infrastructure is not set up around us to provide us with our own communities. Many of our jobs, as you've heard, are not stable or not unionized. They don't have infrastructure. Bring us where you can, and I hope that young people of my generation will be encouraged to participate with people of other generations, because it's just not available immediately around us. And thank you all for being here.
So first and foremost, I want to thank every single person who came out tonight. I want to send a special thanks and a massive set of applause, I hope, for Christine Dyke for letting us have her church. Thank you. So I'm on the steering committee of Indivisible Cumberland County. I wanted to ask you all to consider funding this enterprise so we can help fund the church that enabled us to meet here. 100% of what you give will go towards making things like this happen. I did want to say a couple of things about participation. This is what democracy looks like. It is much more than a piece of paper constitution or voting. It is participatory. It's an understanding that we can't build something better unless we build it together. We are committed, all of you here, to building something, a system that advances all of us, even if we don't personally benefit from that system, because we know that if we keep each other safe, we are all safe. I'm going to ask you all, how many of you came out here to participate in something like this for the very first time? Yes, thank you. Thank you for doing that. We heard that 3.5% is what's going to be needed to change this regime. And I want every single one of you here tonight to make a commitment to yourselves and each other that you're going to do more than just come here tonight. And so I'm going to just tell you there are things you can do. There are about 20 different groups, including our own Indivisible Cumberland County, that you can be involved in and participate with. You just have to go to the indivisible.org website and you will find them in your community. You can download an app called 5 Calls. It's something you can have on your phone and enter in what it is you care about, and it will prompt you with numbers and scripts to call every day. So make participation in this democracy something that is part of your daily act of survival that you will do to yourself and for your kids and others. Also on April 3rd, Indivisible Cumberland County is holding a Introduction to Nonviolent Direct Action that will be held at 810 Main Street in Westbrook We will have a speaker who is a trained nonviolent direct action Quaker who will come and speak to us about that and tee us up for further training on how to do that. So please do come to that. April 5th, there's going to be a huge rally and march in DC, but also it's going to be held in Augusta. So if you can make your way to Augusta, maybe carpool, that would be great. If you can't, there will be an action here in Portland as well. So please come out. It is the first time we're going to try to get millions of people out to say no more, not in our name. So please come. Last, I would ask you all to think and look up mutual aid in your community. Contribute an hour of your time, money that you may have to mutual aid. What we know from authoritarians across the world is that they try to divide us. They try to make us feel scared and alone, without options and without community. We cannot let that happen to each other. We are the only thing that's holding this together. This democracy is us holding each other's hands and walking together forward. So consider doing that. Consider joining a mutual aid group or contributing to that. And if nothing else, talk to your kids, your friends, your neighbors, give them accurate information, engage, because that's what we're going to have to do in the period going forward. So thank you, and God bless every single one of us. Let's do this.
Thank you, Tom, for being with us tonight, and you are welcome to exit out the front of the sanctuary or the back of the sanctuary, okay? Thank you.